Yes. What is going on? Back for another episode of the Daily Wire. And yeah, going to speak about Jadon Sancho again, but now it has been confirmed. £2.6 million or euro package covering everything about his wage being like 350. It's like 7. It's like 1.4 million a month that Sancho takes in. So it's barely covering 2 months of his loan. But what Man United don't have any negotiation in that whatsoever. It's not about Man United needed to negotiate better. Manchester United, it's not necessarily about negotiating better when you're sitting at a table right across from the other club. It's what happens previously to that. It's what set up and the atmosphere and environment that is at your club. That's what the negotiation tactic is. When football teams negotiate with Manchester City, everything there is in order and the players' value and reputation is very high. For example, like Sterling, Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. Because they were in that squad and in that system and playing for Pep Guardiola, and their reputations just increase naturally, right? They play better because they're with better players. And then when you do go to the negotiation table, there's so much more already to work with. The fact that Jadon Sancho is in a cubbyhole at Carrington for the past 2 months, you don't have negotiation. The fact that you even got 2.6 million, I'd say is okay negotiation. There's a lot of sad things with the Jadon Sancho thing. I think one thing that is the comparison that everyone can make is the fact that he got signed to an English club for big money. It didn't work out for him for whatever reason, and then he goes back to the exact same club, right? So we had that with Pogba and we had that with Lukaku at Chelsea. I think it feels like a little bit more like the Lukaku one, in my opinion. I think that Pogba did a lot in the Man United shirt. It's horrific how he got treated. Lukaku did absolutely fuck all for Chelsea when he went back. Jadon falls somewhere in between, I think. But this is how things work, right? You buy technical, considered, careful footballers, expressive, can unlock doors, that type of footballer, right? And then you want to buy him, play him in the most dynamic football league in the world, while you want to play the most aggressive, dynamic football that you can possibly think of. Now, Jadon Sancho doesn't fit into that player profile. You bring Jadon Sancho into a team where the wingers play like slightly more narrower. There is a chance for overlapping, like he had with Hakimi. When the wingers cut inside, there's real good options inside from the striker or from the advanced eights. But Sancho never really had any of that. So it's all good and well saying that you have to create everything yourself as a football player. But that's not the environment that we are in now in modern day football. So the support systems around these players are massive, and they also want their assets to be used in the correct way, right? Think about if you have strengths as a person. You want to be able to express those strengths, whether it's in your relationship with your wife or with your friends or at work. You want to be able to let your strengths shine, right? You need an environment where that can happen. And I don't think Manchester United really give that to their technical players that maybe aren't as physically adept. What else we got? And and then just it's a lot of what ifs, isn't it, with Sancho and a lot of these United players. A lot of these like what ifs with Pogba, what ifs with Di Maria, what if with Falcao, what if with Donny van der Beek, what if with Kagawa. I heard Stehausen mention earlier today. So you got like all these what ifs with all these like technical footballers that maybe aren't like the most rapid or the strongest in straight line speed. And when you play with such massive open spaces and you play on a home pitch like Old Trafford and you want to play like the most aggressive transition football, or that is the philosophy of the manager, Jadon Sancho just doesn't fit into that like at all. Which is sad that the philosophy that our manager has come in with and the philosophy that he's fallen in love with and the research he's done about the history of United and the style of play and how he wants to kind of create a modern hybrid version of what United used to be, that then isolates and alienates players like Anthony, Sancho, Donny van der Beek, and so it it's a what could have been scenario. We could have had, and I know a lot of fucking religious Reds would even hate the idea of this forward line. But if we had a different profile of our team, like you literally could have Sancho, Martial and Greenwood as a front three. And then, if you did actually have that, then it would make total sense for you to play these fucking... Then it would make total sense for you to play these kind of really scatty, everywhere advanced midfielders, because you'd have all the technical prowess and creativity in that front three. And then you just have like a supporting cast, and then Bruno's not even really that... It's not that important then to get Bruno out of the team, or as important for him not to play. But as it stands, you have Rashford, Højlund and Garnacho, because all it's about is being fast, isn't it? That's it. The ball is irrelevant. Like, how do you get to that point? How did we get to that point in football? How, in such a short space of time, did we get to a point where we thought that it's just so secondary to be proficient on the ball? It's so secondary to have good link-up play and triangles on the ball. Like, where's that gone? Where's triangles gone out of football? Or where's that gone out of the Manchester United team? And it is a lot of what-ifs. That front three that I just mentioned is a big what-if. And just going on to the package, like the £2.6 million package. There's no negotiation there. We have been given an opportunity, basically by Dortmund, to increase this player's value if we're looking to sell. Like, that's the value in it. We're giving you this 2.6. We literally, like, if they say we'll give you 500 grand, but we'll take him and he'll play, and if he plays well, the value, he will be a 30, 40 million pound player if he smashes it, right? 40 mil if he absolutely murders it. But then again, Jadon Sancho does really well for Dortmund, right? Let's say he scores 8 goals now to the end of the season, 8 assists, right? Which is would be pretty damn good, right? His value then will increase, right? You would think, right? Play well, value increases. But then we go back to the negotiation table. And what is then the scenario? Jadon Sancho then comes back from his loan, and then you would imagine, if Ten Hag is still there, he will be sold, right? Or the idea is to sell him, get him off the wage bill, etc. You're sitting down then again at the negotiation table, and you will still not get what you want for Jadon Sancho because the situation at Manchester United is still exactly the fucking same. So then if I was a team interested in Sancho, I'd be like, we'd be there and you'd be like, have you not seen what he's just done at Dortmund? And then you'd be like, mate, we knew that's what Jadon Sancho can do. But you guys don't want him. And he doesn't want you. So you're in exactly the same situation as you were before this great loan. No one thinks Jadon Sancho hasn't got it. I think it's pretty evident as to why it hasn't worked out for him. The absolute chaos that's happened at Manchester United since he's gone. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that absolute shit show of a horrendous ending to that tenure. I don't think I've ever seen a more disinterested squad. Just a pathetic excuse of a team, right? So that happens. Then a new manager comes in and firstly buys Antony, right? And then you think, right, hang on a second. So that's where Sancho was bought to play on the right wing. But then you think, right, if you're buying a player profile of Antony's qualities on the right and you want inverted wingers, then surely then Sancho is the perfect partner on the other side to offer similar things, right? There's big differences in the way they play, but there's similarities in terms of obviously stature and technical ability and wanting to play shorter balls and needing players close to them. But no, Ten Hag decides to go kind of like the complete opposite in a sense. He gets burnt by the first two results of his tenure, and then after that, it's pragmatism till the end of time with Ten Hag. So for Jadon Sancho, there was very little opportunity to really do much, in my opinion. I heard Steve saying about how it is the responsibility of the player to kind of make things happen at a club. And of course that's true, and that's true in every case of society. It's down to the individual to make things happen, of course. But within such a special framework of modern football, in England especially, the reality is that this is specialised people in specialised roles with specialised support teams, and also a real special and also with special expectations as an employee. Employees in the modern day world ask so much more from their employer than back in the day. Like the employer back in the day, you do as you're fucking told, you work your ass off, and when we're done, we're done. I don't expect anything from me. I'm giving you a wage. That's what the world looked like 40, 30, less than that, but say 40, 30, 20 years ago. 15 years ago even. But now, as modern day culture grabs a hold of working culture as well, employees are saying, what are you doing for me? Like, what's this environment bringing to us all as a team? There's a lot more questions and a lot more expectations from an employee now to the employer. So I think it works both ways. I feel like Sancho definitely could have done more when he played. Is he playing with a great team? No. Did he show really, really good moments? Did he show amazing moments at the beginning of this season, in pre-season? Yes. Playing through the middle. In reality, Jadon Sancho in the Premier League for a team like Manchester United that would rather players cover space than the ball, right? Manchester United is about players covering ground, not the ball, because we're not capable of that. And Jadon Sancho can't cover ground really that well. I think he definitely got slower as well, it seemed, when he came to Manchester United. A little bit, tiny bit weighty maybe. Not as slender as he was at Dortmund. Not as young as he was at Dortmund either, right? That makes a big difference. But it was never going to work for him at Manchester United with a team that wants to play such direct football, basically. A team that wants to miss out the midfield. It's always sad, and I think it should be seen as sad, in my opinion. It's always sad that good players, good technical, proficient players, match winners, can't find a home and a space within our squad and in our team. It's sad to see that we can't create the environment that gets the best out of these technical footballers. Juan Sebastian Veron, for those of you that can remember, Argentinian centre midfielder, incredibly talented, technically incredible. He came to Manchester United during the heyday, right? All the boys, Keane, Scholes, Beckham, Giggs, the lot, right, in midfield. And technically he was there. But because of how direct and how fast Manchester United want to break, and in the 4-4-2 days, if you literally had better, quicker, faster players, like, you could do that. You could just absolutely swarm teams. It's one-on-one all over the pitch. So you had better players, you could get up the pitch very quickly, especially when the team is petrified, like every team was coming to Old Trafford. Because mid-table and lower level teams would just sit, park the bus, low block. What can you do? That's how football was played. Big teams, break this down if you can. But yeah, I think Jadon Sancho operating in wide areas for Manchester United, it just never made sense, did it? Hindsight's incredible, but the way that Manchester United want to play, or the way that, like, the fans think in their head that the nostalgia of yesteryear makes us need flying wingers. We need flying wingers. Yet there are about 3 flying wingers in world football at a decent level. But we need one on each wing. But we're Manchester United, mate. No one cares that you're Manchester United, that we're Manchester United. No one cares. Jadon Sancho should have been played in the 10 or as a false 9, right? False 9, stretching it a little bit maybe in the Premier League, right? Maybe. But Jadon Sancho should be in the 10 or be playing in a more narrow football team. Jadon Sancho should be playing for a team that when he does cut inside, there's real good options. Scott McTominay and Bruno Fernandes are not good options when you cut inside as a winger, right? You can talk about Bruno Fernandes' strengths and his numbers, and that's fine. I have no problem with people thinking or having that rebuttal. But what I would say is Bruno Fernandes has loads of strengths, but he's not the guy that you want to be passing the ball inside to when he has men around him and he doesn't have time and space to pick out his pass. So he is not a good option for Jadon Sancho while he cut inside to be given a really smart, intelligent angle. So then Jadon could carry on his run inside and link up with even more players. Because those are his strengths. And what did we say earlier in the video? You want to be in an environment where your strengths, you can show them, and people, and your workplace is designed to get the best out of your strengths and your abilities. But the strengths is a big thing. And having Bruno Fernandes inside when you're cutting in to look for options, or Dallo or Luke Shaw when your fullbacks are inverting, that's not going to cut it, is it? Jadon Sancho will go to Dortmund, and I think as long as he's fit and in shape, which I think that he'll really, this would have been something that would have been organised a long time ago in regards to the idea that they really want him back on loan, right? So he would have fucking been on it, training and in terms of his shape, right, his physical condition. My God, man, if Greenwood has 2 years out basically doing nothing, sitting at home, and then comes back and starts smashing it for Getafe in La Liga, you should imagine that Jadon Sancho, having had a full pre-season, I know he hasn't played, but he'll be fresh. He might be a little bit rusty and not as sharp, but I think he's going back into a functioning football team that values possession. And that's what Jadon Sancho does. He values possession. And if every player in the team valued it, that's when you have a healthy, holistic approach to football. So when you have functionality, it's happening. We all like keeping the ball, so guess what? Look, the ball gets kept. Oh, but what about, it's boring. No, it's not, mate. Because no one said we're keeping the ball sideways forever, is it? Anyway, what else we got? That was basically, I just wanted to talk about Sancho, really. And it's sad, mate. Sad as fuck about it. It's fucking long. Yeah, so we spoke about it, about it's like Lukaku scenario. Yeah, and it's the team profile. Yeah, it's my little 2 cents on Jadon, and I hope it fucking works out for him. And in ideal world, I'd rather have a flying, fully confident Jadon Sancho on the left wing or in the number 10 position and no Ten Hag than Ten Hag next season and no Sancho, right? Now, I'm not saying Sancho, what we've seen over his United tenure, right? But a fully, like Graham Potter with Sancho, mate. My God, tell me that shit doesn't work. And that's where I think this is leading to. Jadon Sancho has a good loan spell at Dortmund, and we carry on the way we are going, which I just don't see how it can be any different. Then I think what happens is Ten Hag goes and then Jadon comes back. Jadon will be back in 6 months. And I think all these players that we have, or some of these players, the fact that Greenwood and Sancho and Pogba and Martial and Donny van de Beek, all just couldn't reach their peak. What, did they all just fob it off? Did they all just not care? Did they all just go crap overnight? Of course they didn't, man. Were they all fighting against the tide? Being not so brash and emotionally outgoing and screaming and shouting? They're not those players. But that's what this fan base loves, right? Bruno Fernandes screaming, shouting, crossing and shooting. See it, innit? That's what we love. I'm turning up and I want screaming, I want shouting, and I want crossing and I want shooting. What about passing? No, mate, passing. What do you think this is? 2010? Passing. Have you not heard? Midfield. No need for him. Cut it out. Like it's a fucking lung and you can just survive off the other one. But yeah. This is a very funny little weird time in it, this January period now, with all these different scheduled winter breaks. Like the Premier League teams, winter breaks are split, and then Italy have got a different one, Spain a different one. But yeah, there's a few games on tonight. I'm gonna go to the fucking driving range, hit some golf balls, go for a sauna, and then who do we have? I think this Barcelona Palmeiras. Oh, Las Palmas. But I think the Sevilla. I mean, I know Sevilla are doing dead. No, we probably will. We'll watch the Barcelona Las Palmas game. But yeah, Juve got Salernitana in the Coppa Italia, and La Liga, Sevilla against Atletico Bilbao, and yeah, Barcelona Las Palmas. And then yeah, the fucking egg and chips game in the FA Cup, Palace against Everton. I'm really starting to get a slight bit of disdain for the style of the Premier League. It's really exciting, but it's just full of mistakes, isn't it? Just like our advanced midfield eights. Full of mistakes. Just like our recruitment strategy. Full of mistakes. Just like Rashford's new contract. A big mistake. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Daily Wire, and later the Daily Wire. Jesus Christ. Definitely can't call it that, can I? Because I'll get done for copyright. The Daily Maguire. I'll be back with the Daily Maguire next. What's going on here? I will be back, Jesus Christ, with the Daily Maguire tomorrow. But yeah, let's watch Barcelona Las Palmas later on. I'll catch you guys later. Peace, peace, peace.